Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Basketball, Body, and Mind. Today's episode, we will talk about what you all like to do, but rarely do enough. Something that you enjoy doing, and when you are interrupted, you get angry. However, you still postpone it almost every evening, even though you know how important it is. And of course, I am talking about sleep. But we will talk in general, not only about sleep, but in general about resting and recovery, and more importantly, why it is important and what those words like recovery, resting, stress management, relaxation, what it means for you. So this matters because a lot of you are training hard. You're lifting, doing your practices. You have games, tournaments, travels, and then you wonder, why do I feel like tired, or I don't see results, or you're super sore, or just feeling stuck? But you're training very hard. So with this today's topic, I believe it can help you to give some ideas why this could be the reasons. And you hopefully will understand why sleep is not the same as resting or relaxation, what recovery actually includes. So what it is inside of the recovery, how sleep can change as you grow, like how many hours you need to sleep, and what to prioritize for recovery in general, and actually what to ignore. So all these answers you hopefully will find in this episode. So let's start with some problems that I see. So when somebody asks you, or like if I would say to you, what comes to your mind when I say recovery? And many of people will think, okay, maybe now when I was talking about the sleep and all of these things, maybe you will think about sleep. But usually when we think about recovery, many of you might think about stretching, about mobility routines, about ice bath, massage guns, or just in general massages, or some kind of gadgets, but not sleep, not stress management, not relaxation. Because we tend to think that if we did not sleep well, we can make up with, I don't know, ice bath. So, of course, probably you also have, okay, I will share one story about myself. Yes, let's do this. So maybe some of you have a story that you didn't sleep well and you had really good game when you were younger, or maybe now you are young, so you had that, and you're like, sleep is not that important. So I can tell you also a story that my friend took me out to the city. It was a long time ago. I was a student, so don't judge me. And we were partying till 5 a.m. And the next day, I had a international tournament to go. And I did really well in that tournament, even though I slept 5 hours max, because at 10 I left approximately, and I had really good tournament. So, but that's just one time. It's not that I would do that ever again in my life, especially now when I'm older. I'm definitely not doing that. But when I was younger, and it was like once, it didn't hurt me, but it could have hurt me a lot. It just was like a coincidence, and I performed well. However, don't do that, and I do not recommend you do that. But you might have these stories, but it's more like anecdotes rather than the full picture or the true story. Also, another thing is that sometimes people copy what pros are doing without understanding the age, the context, biology. So, for example, you have heard that Kobe Bryant would do 3 or 4 workouts a day. But his schedule was different when he was 15 years old. He was able to control his time. He was having his chef with him always, so he didn't need to cook. He didn't need to go to school. He had his private trainer that would train him. So all of these other stressors that you might have, he didn't. Maybe when you will be when you would be in his position, maybe you would be also able to train that much. But always we need to take context into the equation when we are talking about like everything, not recovery, but about everything. And next thing is you definitely underestimate how important recovery is. But you need to understand also that school, parents, could be parents as a stressor, but also as a kind of recovery that would help you to recovery. But like school, friends, parents, assignments, tests, games, practices, all of that could be a stressor for you. So if you and your teammate basically do the same thing in the practices, but you go to different schools, you have different friends, of course, parents are different, everything is different. So you might not be adapting the same way, recovering the same way, because it's not just the training that you need to recover from. And all of those things will show up in four kind of areas. So number one is in the games. You will have your slow reaction time, or you might have heavy legs, poor decision making, especially late in the games, and your 3-point percentage will go down. Why I say 3-pointers by 9%? Because it has been proven in Stanford basketball that if they just increase their sleep, 3-pointers went by 9.2%. So then second thing is practices. You will lose your focus in the practices. You might take sloppy decisions again in the practices, or execution of the drills will not be as good as it could be. Or you could be less motivated to go to the practices because you're feeling tired. And imagine if you are training this way, how it will affect your games. What about weight room? That's number 3. Strength will go down, jumping and sprinting ability will decrease, soreness, like after every lift you will feel sore. And number 4, you just always will feel tired if you will not put attention into the recovery. So as you can see, there are many problems in this area. So let's talk about these 3 topics: sleep, stress management, and relaxation. But before actually we start, there is the bottom layer about the recovery. And I found this in Israel and others' book, something like Recovering from Training. And they were saying that there is maximum recoverable volume. And what it means, if, let's say, tomorrow you have to run 50 kilometers, 30 miles, of course, no matter how good your sleep will be, no matter how many hours you will spend in ice bath afterwards, and you will go to best restaurant to eat the best foods, it doesn't matter. The day after the run, you will feel so bad, so sore, everything will be hurting because you have exceeded the maximum recoverable volume of the training, or of the exercise, or of the load, maybe would be the good word. You cannot recover from too much of load. If the load is not that high, maybe something that you would be able to recover, and you did all of those things that I mentioned: sleep, nutrition, hydration, relaxation, maybe next day you will be feeling good. But if your recovery was not that good, you will not be feeling great next day. So anyway, you understood my point. If the load is too high, it will be impossible for you to recover, even with the best recovery. But let's talk about that you are training at your limits and you're not training too hard. And let's start with the sleep. So, you know what is interesting? That up to this date, it is still not clear why we sleep. Because during that time, we're not looking like if we would look at the history, thinking about hundreds of thousands of years ago, like we would not look for food while we sleep, and or we could become a food of a predator like a tiger, lion, or whatever, and they could attack us and kill. So it's still not clear, of course, like for the recovery, for resting, for being able to function, but it's still hard to answer the question why we sleep. And there is a great book you can read that book about about sleep, and the name is Why We Sleep. So many ideas why and how and what to do in order to improve that. But anyway, so what we can understand simply is that sleep is when the brain and body, also body, not only the brain, actually repairs, adapts, and learn. And there are two different kind of big phases of sleep. So one is REM sleep, rapid eye movement, and we are dreaming in this phase. And another one is non-REM, so non-rapid eye movement. And this phase is also further divided into 4 stages of sleep, but just remember that there is a deep sleep in this non-REM sleep. So during the night, the first part of the night, so let's say you are going in bed at 10. I hope you are, not like 12 or 1 a.m., but let's imagine that you are going to bed at 10. So approximately first 4 hours of night would be more of the deep sleep phases, so more of the non-REM. And the second part of the night is usually where more of that REM, rapid eye movement, and more of the dreaming will happen. So when you have the deep sleep, so first part of the night, it will support your muscle repair and growth. So you will be recovering your body more during that first part of the night. And also thinking about the brain, your brain will kind of quote unquote forgetting what is not important for you. If you were like training some like, I don't know, specific handle or specific drill for basketball, and it's very important for you, so your brain will delete some other information. I mean, I'm simplifying so much, but like think about this way, that it deletes the other information, what is not important, and it only keeps what your brain thinks that it is important. And in the second part of the night is where the dreams are happening, but this also supports skill learning and emotional regulation. So what does it mean? It means like that your brain, or like recovery happens more for the nervous system. Of course your body is recovering also, but we are recovering more for our brain functioning. And also when I was talking about those drills that your body try to save and delete other information during this part, so this is second phase of the night, your body will be making those connections in your brain, if you will, or those kind of skill motor program a little bit stronger, so that the next day when you will wake up, the skill would be improved. And it's very important that they would sleep 8 hours, because you will be learning that for longer. So conditions for good sleep is that first of all, you need to prep for sleep, and that could help you like relaxation techniques that we will talk later. But any routine that you will be doing before going to bed can kind of help you to set your mind asleep, and later you would put your body asleep. So second thing is temperature, that you will be sleeping better at colder rooms. So anything approximately 18 degrees or 65 by Fahrenheit. So maybe if you're used to sleep at a much warmer, so don't decrease significantly right away, but just decrease it slowly, like degree by degree, but approximately those 18 degrees by Celsius and 65 by Fahrenheit will be kind of optimal. And lastly, the third condition is darkness. So it's very important that it would be very dark in the room where you're sleeping. If it's not possible to do that, put your eye mask on and do that. If it's possible, unplug all the electronic devices, or maybe use a tape to cover all the blinking lights in your room. So that will be the best if you want to improve your sleep. Next, let's talk about relaxation. So before we talk about that, we need to understand that there are two kind of systems in our body. Maybe you have heard them. One is fight or flight, which is sympathetic, so kind of stress state, and another one is rest and digest. This is parasympathetic, and it's relaxation. So we are living, most of the time, we are living in that stressful, in that sympathetic state because of the school, because of the training, not having extra free time to relax. So that's why usually we are living in the sympathetic state. And in order for us to calm down, we could think about these 4 types of relaxation. So first of one is physical relaxation. So how can we shift ourselves from stressful state to relaxation in physical form? So you would be just sitting without doing anything, or laying in comfortable position. So you will be physically feeling relaxed. Or you could be eating a meal, but slowly. So you will feel how your body is relaxing, but you really need to do anything else except slow eating. Try. And last thing is hobbies. If you are doing like a hobby, for some people, like now I'm thinking about, okay, Michael Jordan, that he would be playing golf. So that is physical relaxation, even though he is physically doing something, but that is a relaxation for him. Another way of improving relaxation can be social. So spending time with your friends, family, or even with your pets. It's very important. When you are petting a pet, you will feel relaxed, usually, unless pet is fighting against you. But think about also friends and family. If you enjoy spending time with your family, with your friends, that will be a relaxation for you. But if you dislike someone around you, maybe you're a teenager and you sometimes think that parents do not understand you. So maybe family will be at this stage of your life not a relaxation. So it can be, of course, you need to be grateful for everything what your parents gave you. But in this time, maybe it would not be a relaxation type of activities. So you also need to understand this. Another social relaxation example could be watching a movie, but you also are sitting in the comfortable position. But when you are watching a movie, you usually watch with someone else. So that is social relaxation, because you would be talking also about something in that movie. So, or watching TV shows. Next type of relaxation is mental relaxation. You could read a book, but something that when you are reading a book, you would be thinking about things that the author is talking about. that your mind would be occupied with that book and not something else. It can be also listening to music. When you get in the zone when listening to the song or some specific playlist. So this would be definitely mental relaxation. And playing video games. It can be a relaxation. Of course, if it doesn't hinder your sleep, if you are choosing to play video games instead of sleep, you are robbing yourself. And we don't want to do that. But if you have time and you want to shut your mind off, maybe playing a video game is a good thing. And last is conscious relaxation that you can do is using breathing techniques, meditation, mindfulness. So what does it mean, meditation and mindfulness? Meditation would be more like a sitting and contemplating or thinking. There are different ways of executing meditation, such as you would be letting your mind go and think whatever it wants to think, but you're just observing. Or you can just focus on your body and on your breathing, and you would be just paying attention to that. And if your mind wanders somewhere, you just come back, you recognize that thought, and you come back to the breathing. Okay? But mindfulness is being mindful of anything you do. So if you are doing dishes, you try to feel how does it feel when I'm doing the dishes? How does the water feel? How do I feel the edges of the pan that I'm cleaning? Or when I'm walking, how do I feel my foot hitting the ground? How do I feel my hand swinging? So this would be mindful. Of course, it can be with eating, with drinking, with anything, but this would be differentiation between meditation and mindfulness. And last thing about conscious relaxation is that you need to avoid stressful activities or mentally demanding tasks when you are close to bedtime. If you need to relax, but you have to do something unpleasant, even though it's your time off, that will not be a relaxation. I think you understood this examples. And let's go to the number 3 is stress management. So what does it mean? It means that you are staying calm and not letting emotions take over. Or in other words, not getting too upset or letting small things bother you. And if you would say to me like, Stan, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just this way. I was always this way. My parents are this way. So my question then to you is, at what age I should say, okay, now it's on you. It's not on your past. It's not on your parents. But at what age, when you are 13, 18, 20, when do you become responsible for your actions, for your words, for your decisions that you make? What I want to say by this, that this stress management is a skill and you can change that. The way you communicate to the referees, to the coach, to your teammates, everything is a skill. And if you put effort into that, you will improve and you will get better. It's like basketball skills. You put time and effort, conscious attention and focus to the task that you are doing, and you will get better. Same with this. What would be some signs of that you are not a good stress manager is having a short temper. That's very obvious. Or having some tightness in the body, in the muscles especially. Sometimes troubles to falling asleep. That could be a big sign. Constant fatigue, even though you are sleeping well, even though you are not training that hard, but you're always tired. Maybe your mind's just robbing you robbing your energy. So that could be one. And how could you manage stress effectively? So there are a few things that you could do, in my opinion. So first of all, you need to learn or kind of try to control emotional responses. So do not let those minor stressors in your life take over. If you feel that something is taking over, count till 10. As stupid as it sounds, inhale, exhale, just do it 10 times. Okay? So that would be one. Number two is you would need to shift your focus on things that you can control. For example, you wanted to go to shoot, but it's raining outside, like heavy rain. So then instead of like thinking of, I wanted to go to shoot and now I cannot, I'm pissed off, like it always happens like this when I'm ready, like I cannot go. Okay, this one we cannot change. Is there anything else that I can do? Maybe I can go still if I'm that motivated, and I can do just stationary ball handling. Maybe I can do ball handling somewhere under the roof. Or maybe I could watch some film and study the game or work on my body. And later, when the weather will be better, I will go and shoot. So focusing on what you can control will let go on that unnecessary worries. Next thing that maybe it's a little bit similar, but it's that you need to stay productive. And what I mean by productive, if you are feeling stress about something, it could be that you are not improving in that area. If you are feeling stressed because you are not working on your body, just start. Just start doing a little bit of that. You don't have to go to the weight room and do full body session for 2 hours. Just start lightly. Do some push-ups, do some squats, single leg squats if bodyweight squats are too easy for you. And that is it. You will feel better. So redirect your attention to positive habits and routines. So that will be a way for you to kind of improve your stress management. And last thing is use techniques. So you can use, if you're feeling stressed, you can use breathing techniques such as box breathing. So 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhale, 4 seconds hold. And do that for a couple of minutes. You will see how stress and try to focus on the counting and on those techniques that you're using, and you will see how stress is dissipating. Next thing can be hobbies or being mindful. So those techniques that I explained previously. Another thing that I believe many of you have not done in a long time is go for a walk, but without your phone. Leave your phone at home and go for 15, 20, 30 minutes walk. You will see how much calmer you will feel. Or maybe at first you will be stressed. Oh my God, I'm leaving home without phone. But try. You will see that the walk and especially the mind will be different after that walk. And another last thing that I personally do every day is journaling. I write few sentences about my day and it helps me. Sometimes, like a few years ago, I used to send audio messages to myself, like reflections. And that was a way for me to relax my mind. So I cannot tell you what you will need to do, but all of those things could help you if you are a serious basketball player, because you're not only need to train hard, but you also need to recover hard. So now, as you understand that rest does not equal only to sleep, and sleep is not equal to recovery. It's part of that, but it's not only that. So you know that now, like, sleep is a, let's call it, biological experience or biological reset. Rest is what I was talking about, lowering the stress, relaxation, or stress management, and recovery is full picture of that. But it's also, in recovery, we need to include food, we need to include hydration, we need to include load management, we need to include everything, what you do or you don't for recovery. So why this matter? Because if you slept bad, you cannot stretch your way out of that. You, no matter how many stretching exercises and ice bath you will do, it will not help you to mitigate that stress that you have accumulated because of the short of sleep. If you are constantly underslept or overstressed, you cannot expect performance improvements or that your recovery will be good after the practice. You cannot see the benefits of the work that you are putting just because you're not recovering well. And if you are too stressed, your sleep will be worse and it will not help you to fall asleep. One kind of trick that you could do if you are too stressed and you need to sleep, so you could take a pencil and paper and just write down those things that you are thinking. Maybe that you need to do something. So write that down. If you're thinking about something, write that down. Some people say that this little thing helps to take all the stress from their mind and they can just devote themselves to sleep. And it's crazy that it's so small thing, but it can help significantly. Okay, but now if you're asking yourself, but like, do I just need to sleep more? Like, usually the answer is yes, because most of us are short on sleep. So whoever adds a little bit of sleep, everything improves. 3-pointers improve, reaction time improves, muscle mass increase, vertical jump improves, everything gets better. Of course, it's certain, like if you are already sleeping perfectly, maybe adding more sleep will not help you. But if you are 12 to 14 years old, I would expect that you would sleep or like stay in bed for 10 hours. If you are 15, 16, that's like 9 hours, maybe sometimes more, depends, but around 9 hours. And if you are 17 and older, I expect you to stay in bed for 8.5 hours. And why I say stay in bed? Because first of all, when I say stay in bed, you are just resting in the bed. You are not scrolling in the bed. But why I say stay in the bed? If somebody says to you, you need to sleep 8 hours, we cannot count till from 10 to 6. That's 8 hours. And we think that we will sleep 8 hours. No, you will need some time to fall asleep. Sometimes we have those awakenings during the night, even though we don't remember them and we're not aware. So if you stay in bed for 8 hours, that's not 8 hours of sleep. So that's why I say 8.5 hours in bed, that you will sleep 8 hours during the night. But I would also add naps. Of course, not too late during the day, no later than 3 p.m. you would need to wake up if you are taking a nap. And if you slept 8.5 hours, I would not take more than 30 minutes. Okay, but if you slept less, around 7 hours, maybe you will take up to 90 minutes, but you need to wake up before 3 p.m. Why? Because if you sleep in or take a nap a little bit later, maybe you will robbing yourself from the night sleep. And last part from this episode is about 3 examples of when you can use some sleep improvements. I thought that I will not talk about stress management and relaxation because it is individual. Some people will prefer meditation, some others mindfulness, or maybe you will be doing some hobbies. So I thought I will stick to the improvements of the sleep because everyone will need to do the same things because we all sleep the same way. Okay, so that's why it is important. So we will talk about late games, then we will talk about tournaments when you play multiple games like each day, and in general about traveling and hotels. So when we are playing a late game, it's obvious that you will delay your sleep. And after the game, depending on the level that you play in, and of course on the time, sometimes you can play a game at 8:30 or 9 p.m. start with to start the game. So of course, after the game, you might not feel sleepy, and you might not want to go to sleep. And I would say don't. But also don't scroll when you get home. So you will need to shift your getting to bed time. Of course, like if you are young and you have to go to school, you will need to do like some things in order to go to bed as early as possible because you will need to wake up at 6 or 7 just before the school. But don't force that sleeping time on you. And what I mean by that, if you get to bed and you're not tired and you're thinking about the shot that you missed that you could have won in the game, of course you will not fall asleep. You need to shut your mind off somehow. So you could use that box breathing, any relaxation technique, but I would not do that in bed. First of all, I would do something that would help to shut my mind off while I'm not in the bed. Maybe I'm sitting on the sofa. Maybe if there's just one room, maybe you are sitting in the corner, in your meditation corner. So I would do that first. And then when I feel more sleepy, only then I would go to bed. And this is what I would recommend for you to do. And also, if you will sleep that one night, 6 hours, because you couldn't fall asleep after that bad miss, that's fine. It's just one night. Okay, don't stress over that. You will be fine. Next day, you need to wake up plus minus the same time, and that is it. But some techniques that you could use is before you go to bed, 30 minutes without phone. If possible, without any screen. Do something else. Maybe do some meditation, do some breathing, do dishes. Occupy your mind with something that is not stressful. I would not also watch TV because usually it's bad news, something bad has happened, it stimulates our stress response. We don't want that. We want some relaxation. Also, another thing what you could do is keep lights low. Dim the lights. It will help you. The talk is about melatonin, that it will be improving the production of melatonin. So you can do that. You can have warm shower and then go to the bed. Of course, we're talking also about that your room temperature should be lower. So that is definitely a great option for you to do if you want to fall asleep faster. Don't have big meal either when you are in the late game. Even if you played lots of minutes, after the game, have your gainer or protein shake. And then when you get home, have just light snack. Because if you will eat a lot, it will be difficult for you to sleep. And last thing is that if you are aware that you will have very late game and you will go to bed late, sleep a bit during the night. 30 minutes, maybe 60 minutes during the day, if that is an option for you, do that. And next day, wake up plus minus at the same time. Don't change too much your waking up time, even though if you have to postpone your bedtime, waking up time would be good to keep consistent. let's talk now about the tournaments. It can be 3 or 4 days of daily competition. The most difficult thing about this, actually, there are many things in that. First of all, of course, is like physical stress that accumulates because you have multiple games in multiple days, and fatigue will build day by day. And if you are even like feeling fine, you're playing not that much, let's say 20 minutes, but it will add up. And you all have been there, and you all know that you like feeling day by day a little worse and worse, even if you don't feel it, like physically feel it, you will feel it on the court. But this is like, you will be as good as your recovery is. You will not be training during the tournament, so you will not be getting so good, like improving so much in that tournament, but you will be only as good as your recovery is. What you can do in that, so it's very important to find a way that all your roommates would do the same. If it's impossible, because we cannot control that, we cannot control what they are doing, we can control only on the things that we can control, and that's one of the stress management things, that we need to focus on things that we can control. So we want to dim the lights, but they don't want, so we wear eye mask. We want to not to hear any sounds, so we use earplugs. And you need to start using them at home before you start using them with your teammates, because if you're not used to those things, it will be very uncomfortable for you to use that at the tournament. But the best thing you can do for yourself is to recover well, sleep well. That will be the best for you to do in the tournaments. So you need to reduce that unnecessary stress, so you're ready. You know that whenever time comes, you just put your eye mask, put your earplugs, and you just fall asleep. Maybe you do some routines and you fall asleep. Next, as always, 30 minutes before, that's a new routine for you. 30 minutes before you go to bed, no social media, no screen time. Do something else. Enjoy time with your friends. And then after those 30 minutes, go to sleep. And last thing, you need to try to wake up at plus minus consistent times. That will be very important. That will let you stay in your zone, stay on your things that you can control. However, if, like I remember with under 20 national team, we had a game and we finished the game at 11:15 in the night, I believe. So of course we will not be waking up at 8, because we still need to get to shower, go to hotel, eat, and then go to bed. And it's hard to fall asleep. So of course we'll not be waking up by 8, but still, if you have a chance to take a nap, it's better to wake up maybe 1 hour later only, even though it's 2 hours later your bedtime, and later take a nap. That would be the best thing you can do. And when we're talking about travel and hotels, it's new environment. We cannot expect how bad or how good that new environment will be, but we can control our sleep quality by the things that I mentioned earlier. And you also need to think that when you are crossing multiple time zones, it will be affecting your performance, and we cannot do anything about that. We can mitigate, and sometimes we do with some of the online clients when they are traveling to the USA from Europe, and they know that within a couple of days they will have a game. So you can start shifting your each day by 1 hour. So if you're waking up and eating and doing everything at certain hours, you shift everything to 1 hour later or 1 hour earlier, depends which way you are flying. But you will still have that performance decrease. It's impossible not to have it when you are changing 8 hours. But maybe instead of changing eight, you will be changing five because you are already living 3 hours ahead. So that's one thing that you could do before traveling. And as I was saying earlier, so you need to pack those sleep basics like eye mask, earplugs. Maybe you could even take a pillow to your flight. That will definitely help you. When you get to the hotel, you need to keep your room cool and dark. Also, whenever you get on the flight, you need to set your time according to the time of that destination. If in your time, like in your country, it is 10 p.m. and you are feeling very sleepy, but actually in the place that you're going, it's 2 p.m., you should not sleep. You should be living by the new time zone because when you will get there, you will need to live by that time. So the earlier you start, the sooner the adaptation will happen. Same rules with social media. I wouldn't use social media, but if you are feeling sleepy and you know that you should not sleep because it's 2 p.m. at the destination time, use social media. It will help you to stay awake. So that would be a smart thing to do. But if you are in the hotel and you should be sleeping, but in your time it's like morning, don't use social media because it will keep you awake. I hope you understood what I mean. And it's not only by the time, as I said, but also a time of the bedtime and waking up time, but it's also about mealtime. Eat at certain times so your body will know that, hey, now it's day. I should be having my breakfast now. Go and eat your breakfast, even though you don't feel like. Have something. Show your body that it's breakfast time. It will also help you. But the most important thing and the most often mistake that I see is that you take naps. One of my clients, he came back from Mexico tournament. It was maybe Youth Olympics, and he came back to Lithuania and he was just crashing for 3-4 hours here back in Lithuania. And it took him almost 2 weeks to adjust to Lithuanian time zone. But it's because we are not accumulating enough of sleep depth. We're not accumulating enough of fatigue because we are sleeping too much during the day. And then during the night when we should be sleeping, we just don't want to sleep. So what I would say to you is whenever you land in destination, if you feel sleepy during the day, but you know that if you will take a nap, you will sleep for 3, 4, 5 hours, don't take a nap. Do anything you want. Scroll, eat, go for a walk, do push-ups, go to the weight room, accumulate enough of fatigue, and that will help you to adjust to the new time zone faster. And then your sleep will improve and your performance will improve. Simple as that. So the challenge that I have for you is for the next 7 days. Keep same wake up time. Okay, within 30 to 60 minutes, but keep same time. And get off the screens at least 30 minutes before your bedtime. Very important. You will feel better. Of course, if you will not sleep 8 hours, I doubt that you will feel better. But find time. Like if you need to wake up to school at 6:30, go to bed at 10. Turn off your phone at 10 and be in bed by 10. And then on the weekend, wake up by 7:30. I would definitely recommend you doing that. So if you took, that was a long episode, but if you took nothing else from this episode, remember these 3 things. First, that sleep is not optional. It's not something on top of that. It's the key for recovery. Second, stress management is a skill and you can improve that, such as relaxation techniques are important tools for you to include in your recovery. And remember those relaxation techniques such as physical relaxation, social relaxation, mental relaxation, and conscious relaxation. And third, recovery does not just happen. You have to work for it. If you want to download simple one-page guide about recovery, you can find that in the description. Just download it. And if it helped you, share this with a teammate or with a parent or with someone who might find this helpful, because this way is the best way to support us. But for now, keep training basketball, body, and mind.